Hello everyone, and welcome to my Days of Lives official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Additionally, Theresa and Alex and Brady started to agree on things. Maggie's situation was improving, and Vivian was trying to hire a second-in-command. Let's now delve a little more deeply into what transpired. Sarah asked her mother to tell her what was definitely on her mind at University Hospital. Maggie first refused to acknowledge that there was an issue, but she eventually gave in. A serious issue, and she goes by the name Vivian Alamin. Then, as Maggie described how Vivian had swooped in, exposed herself as the widow Kyriakis, and booted all of Victor's family members out on their posteriors, Sarah listened with her mouth gaping. Sarah was left with little choice but to provide platitudes when Maggie finished her tragic story. Rex stepped in and suggested that he and Sarah get married that very afternoon. Maggie had the option of performing the ceremony or serving as a witness. Sarah, who was astounded and awed, asked that Maggie express her perspective on the topic, so Maggie spat out some unkind truths, such as the assertion that marriage is precious and shouldn't be hastily thrown together in order to confirm a falsehood. Rex offered Sarah a way out after Maggie left, but she politely declined. In contrast, Xander, Paul Telfer, persuaded Chloe to pack her bags and board the following flight to New York, where they planned to see a few Broadway performances before getting married. After making a small detour to the town center, Chloe overheard Rex telling Philip that Victoria Margaret was actually Xander's daughter, which caused her to crash land back down on Earth. In the meantime, Justin Wally Kurth joined Brady at Brady Pub, where Brady handed over the attaché case the ISA had retrieved from Victor's plane's wreckage. Theresa ultimately forced her way into the conversation about Brady and Alex's trip to Greece and how she'd attacked the younger Kyriakis. Though surprised, Justin said that he was confident Alex had the issue under control because he didn't want Theresa to get her hands on his son. And indeed, Alex did, sort of. He took Shaw to reassure the femme fatale in question that their passionate encounter the night before hadn't been an unfortunate lie. He genuinely does like her. Brady called Theresa to his side before she could start a second seduction. The problem? Their young boy was dismissed from school. Prior to his catch-up/confessing with Rex, Philip had graciously declined his Vivian's invitation to work with her at Titan as her right-hand man, despite the chance that she could assist him in winning Chloe back. With absolutely nothing to lose, Vivian called Alex, told him she had a job opening, and vowed he was her first and only pick for the position. At the Horton residence, Justin arrived with Maggie and delivered Victor's briefcase. The two of them opened it together and combed over its contents. What else should they find but Victor's most recent last will and testament? Oh, the complicated web we spin. Days of Our Lives is undergoing significant changes, and as several plotlines came to a climax this week, I have a feeling they're all preparing us for a number of Salem exits, some of which we were aware of and others of which we weren't. Additionally, there may be more than 5 departures, but the remaining people are people we know who are only passing through for brief stays, and the November sweeps haven't even begun yet. This past week demonstrated why Jada ought to serve as police commissioner. She quickly pieced together the hints that Talia and Sean shared a bed. Once she realized Sean was lying, it wasn't really that difficult. The police department could use some good detectives, though, and Sean certainly doesn't meet the criteria at the moment. I just truly hope that this affair comes to light rather than Talia getting pregnant as the final straw that ultimately drives both Belle and Talia away. Since Aketra Civilian is no longer filming, there isn't enough time for her to become pregnant, which means she will probably either miscarry or abort the child, and it would be terrible to do that to both Hunter sisters. I don't think Sean will tell Belle what occurred at this time. He lied to her face when he got the chance. Whatever happens, it's going to be nasty because Talia and Belle are both leaving the show. Oak, I can understand EG's assumption that Alva is simply fabricating Susan's existence in order to save her own skin, but if I were him, A Dimmerer who had lived in Salem for as long as he has, not to mention returned from the dead like he has. I would stop killing as soon as I heard the news, at least until I investigated Ava's claims. However, I'm not EJ. He is obstinate and domineering, so continue, I suppose, and pray you don't kill Ava before she locates your mother. In another scene, Trip and Wendy are being punished for aiding Ava. They might become a little more fascinating as a result. I know I'm happy to see Wendy regaining some of her flair through her snooping and confrontation with EJ. Despite her brilliance, she used a home printer to magically fabricate holographic passports. She was never going to stand a chance. She was caught, lured, and dismissed by EJ. Perhaps it's time to go to Titan. Lai is no longer affiliated with Dimmerer. In that case, where is Lai? Why not team up with the other significant Salem corporation, since Wendy is no longer with Johnny, and he and Melinda have disappeared? After all, Vivian could use some assistance with her grand scheme, ha. I apologize for using the word master plan without a smile. Stephanie and I concur. How on earth is Vivian thinking this? It makes no sense to explain what you're doing if you're going to be dealing in illicit narcotics. When she contacted John, did she truly believe he would agree to it? Or Philip, who was her one and only option? Or Alex, who was her one other option? Yes, that made me smile. I don't understand her strategy. Overall, I'm not very impressed by her reappearance. She could be doing so much more, hanging out with so many more people, but instead she merely moved into the mansion, whose effects we have hardly seen, and took over Titan to run drugs. Plus, it appears that Vivian is already leaving and has done very little now that Maggie and Justin have the will. Speaking of the will, everyone is aware that the huge revelation that Alex is Victor's son is set to air on the show. He is not my favorite, as we all know. But I also believe there's a good probability that Alex isn't the heir and that the whole thing is a fraud. It is covered in more detail here. Theresa is good. Assuming my theory about her is accurate, she is fiddling about with Alex. It was fantastic when Xander realized what Chloe meant to him after his dream. I also observed it during the birth and mentioned it. She wasn't there out of jealousy, rather she was helping. Sigh. Aria, you were nice while you had it. Goodbye. Chloe can't possibly go through with the wedding at this point, right? Furthermore, I don't think she's hiding this from Xander just to keep him to herself. Therefore, it is likely, ideally, that Rex and Sarah's wedding will also not take place. I adore Maggie even more for calling the fake wedding for what it is. Rex, stop trying to win Sarah's affection. Simply let it go. But does this suggest that Philip and Chloe are getting back together after Vivian's significant push with Philip? He doesn't stay around too much. So if they do get back together, I'm a little concerned Chloe would follow him out of town. I was so excited for Gwen's big announcement and the cliffhanger from last Friday, but instead of moving quickly, the episode just dragged its feet. Did we really need to go over everything that transpired for an entire day before she saw Leo and Dimitri making out? Although I'm glad she acknowledged being naive and stupid, it still doesn't make me feel any better about how unaware she was. I also don't like that Kristen had to make the suggestion that they exact retribution on the boys. I wish Gwen had already been preparing for this, and upon learning that Kristen knew and kept it from her, had prepared something special for her as well. Put it all on fire. Kristen would have continued to keep Gwen in the dark if Dimitri hadn't gotten on her nerves, at least to her knowledge. However, there is still time to bring up this narrative at the last minute, since I'm interested in how Dimitri's planned hit on Stefan and Gabby will relate to Kristen and Gwen's retaliation. All of this must be coming to a head in a big way, potentially costing Gabby and Gwen as well as us. But would one of them perish on the show? The two of them? I'm hoping Vivian contributes more to this as well. Come on, Days, all the elements are there for something explosive. Alamein, Van Lushner, Dimmerer, betrayals, counter-betrayals, and counter-betrayals. Please just make it work. Seriously, Shane, was it wise to leave the briefcase with Theresa and keep it a secret from everyone else? Do you not even recognize your own daughter? Asterisk, who produces the cocktails in Salem? I must know. There must be some type of record for how many times people have passed asleep while intoxicated and then slept next to one another. Asterisk EJ, I'm not sure if you're just telling me lies out of habit or to keep me safe. Nicole, how about both? Asterisk, it was wonderful to see Ava remember Jake. Even though their passion was hasty, if the program insisted it was a great love, then accept it as such. Congratulations, Dimitri, you cherish Leo. You continue to be a sociopath. The Hallmark Christmas movie lineup, which features a who's who of former soap opera stars, has been published. Get ready for the holidays. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't miss any update.